Seen It podcast, the only podcast called Never Seen It that's worth listening to. With us tonight, Mr. Arnie, the one-man party, aka Arnold Callego is here. Mr. Daily Dares, aka Filipino Grigio, aka Alex Callego, the brothers Callego. Mr. 88, aka Justin Holden. And then there's me, Boots Too Big, aka Adrian De La Torre. We have a special guest tonight. He is the technical producer on the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films Saturn Awards for the last 4 years. He's also been an Academy member for almost 40 years, with a long career in both cybersecurity and entertainment, sometimes with both crossing over. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome also the Director of Logistics for the Palm Springs Comic-Con, Mr. Guy Rosefelt is with us tonight. Guy, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, there's a little delayed clapping. I should have played that a lot sooner. But yeah, I'll just say really quick, we were at the 53rd Annual Saturn Awards a few weeks ago now, which was a really great time, exhilarating time. We were there with Alex, Arnold, thanks to you guys as well, so thank you again for that, for inviting us. And I know that you and Alex have a long shared history. So Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, Guy, thank you for joining us again. I really appreciate it. You're one of the best people to know in the world, and not just that, but also you have a lot of connections to the comic book and art world, sci-fi, television, movies, all that sort of stuff. And we met during one of our first Palm Springs Comic-Con events, which was Free Comic Book Day, right? And I don't know the specifics on how we met, but I do remember you approaching me, and he's like, "Hey, I can help. I know how to do all this sort of stuff." And I don't know how to do some of that stuff. And I'm a guy who likes to hand off stuff because I'm more of an idea person. You are this person who knows how to take ideas and to your best ability. How did you get involved with that sort of stuff to be able to help?
I'm an engineer. That's my. I have 2 degrees in engineering, right? That's what I've done all my life. And basically, an engineer is someone that takes an idea or something and makes it into something, right? That's they try to implement it. That's what I've really been good at. Sometimes I'm good at the ideas, but I enjoy making things work, making things happen. And I've spent a lot of time doing entertainment. I started doing live theater production when I was 15 years old in high school. First show I did was like a Beatlemania touring company, and I went backstage to meet the band at 15. And instead of kicking me out, they got me rolling cables, and that started my whole big thing. And after that, I was doing, in high school, I was probably doing over like 200 shows a year. I was doing big names, lots of jazz type stuff. I was with Count Basie for 7 years. Wow. I did Maynard Ferguson's Totally Hot Tour in 1980. With a lot of people before they passed away. We have, one of the big things we used to have here was the Dinah Shore Golf Tournament here in the desert. You guys know this, you guys have lived here, right? So I did Dinah Shore for 7-8 years. And what Dinah Shore did is during the middle of the golf tournament on Wednesday, they would have this big celebrity sponsored dinner where they'd have a dinner and all the athletes would come and all the PG&E sponsors would come down, whoever they were at that time. And then Dinah would get on up after dinner and she performed with like 5 or 6 of her closest friends. So I was responsible for putting that show together with the people that worked with her. So I was with Frank Sinatra before he died, Glenn Campbell before he passed away, which was, it sounds really sad because I worked with all these people and then they passed away. It's like I killed them all off. It sounds really
You met Sinatra though.
Yeah. So I've been doing production for a long time.
He's actually on the FBI's Most Wanted right now.
Don't laugh. I was kicked out of Canada once for permanently. So
hold on. You said permanently?
Permanently for like about 2 days. I was kicked out of Canada for permanently.
Wow.
Gosh. I was banned from the company, banned from the country. Oh. That's the story for another time. Anyway, so I did production like that stuff. I went to the Air Force, and when you go into the Air Force, I spent a lot of time traveling on planes, going and doing stuff. But the problem was, it's a big bureaucracy. You do a lot of things. It goes into the system, and you don't see things happen for like weeks and weeks and weeks. So I kept my weekend gig and my side gig and doing production stuff. and doing a lot of stuff because I like when you do a show, it's immediate like this, right? Something goes wrong, I got to fix it right away, that kind of stuff. So I've been doing a lot of stuff. I've done television, I've done film, a lot. I prefer the live production type stuff. I've done concerts, I've done beauty pageants. I was with Miss California for 7 years, Miss Nevada, USA for a couple of years. I did a whole bunch of international pageants. I used to light the International Federation of Bodybuilding Latin American Caribbean Championships for 6 years, I think, which was actually cool. They had it in a different country every year. So that was kind of fun working with ESPN. So I've done a lot of crap. And then my day job is basically being in charge of cybersecurity. So and like Adrian said, I have a background in cybersecurity, I have a background in entertainment. Sometimes I've had customers that I had to pass over where organizations got hacked for whatever reason, and I had to go help them solve that kind of problem.
I have my own selfish question I have to ask. Did you ever meet Don Rickles?
Yes.
Oh, tell me about that. I have to know about
really,
that.
really young. Oh, so okay. So
I have to know.
One of the things I used to do, we used to have here in Palm Springs, was Desert Charities. It was an annual event and it ran for 20 some odd years. And I was doing it. I started doing it, like I said, 14 years old. And what they would do is a 3-hour show. We'd have it at the Palm Springs High School Auditorium. It was the only auditorium in town at that time, the only theater in town. Ran for 3 hours, and they would bring in all these big names and to do acts for 3 hours. Don Rickles, Bob Hope came and hosted one year. Actually, hosted every other year. Jan Murray, Sid Charisse, Mickey Rooney. I mean, all these big people that live here in the area or would come down here because they were in Palm Springs. They do this big show for every year for like 20 some odd years, right? And Don Rickles came down, and he was because he's one of my heroes, right? And he is just an obnoxious and poor person. And then he turns it off, and he's like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He really is. Yeah. I was really lucky to have met him, so that worked out.
I'm
really
obsessed with Don Rickles. I love Don Rickles.
I worked with him. I worked with Milton Berle. I met Jerry Lewis once. Who else do I know? Yeah, I used to take pictures. I used to take pictures with people. Or someone would take a picture with me because I was not a selfie kind of person. So I got them on a board somewhere in my garage somewhere and stuff. And I've always, kept the programs. I go back and I look at it. I haven't really done much. And I also found this big box of programs that had like 2,000 shows in it that I've done, over the course of some number of years. So it's really funny. I don't think like I've done a lot, but then you look at this and, I've done a whole bunch of stuff. So it's really funny.
That's awesome. Could you have seen yourself doing anything else besides working adjacent to the entertainment industry or cybersecurity?
Well, so I was in the Air Force, and back then there was such a thing as cybersecurity, and I'm actually part of a group that was mentioned in the book about the first international hack called the Cuckoo's Egg, and it's about this first attack that well known that happened in the mid '80s, where these German hackers were trying to break into U.S. government facilities, and they basically wormed their way through a bunch of different government organizations, Navy bases, Army bases, to try to get into stuff. They went to Lawrence Livermore trying to steal some secrets. And I was part of the organization at Space Systems Division when I was in the Air Force that helped try to track these guys down. So that was the beginning of my cybersecurity journey. Out of the Air Force, I went to work for some cybersecurity companies as an engineer and doing a bunch of stuff. And then my last gig, up to a couple years ago when I was more or less retired, was the chief product officer for one of the largest cybersecurity firms in Asia, if not the world. And I was that for like 5 years. But the thing is, cybersecurity is a really interesting business to be in, but my heart is always going to be entertainment because I love doing shows. Like I said, when Alex met me, I was the one jumping up in front of, it's like the little guy there, me, come pick me. So I was trying to get Alex to get me involved in working on Comic-Con. And it took me a couple of weeks to get him to, to think about actually having me do stuff, because he had no idea who I was.
Yeah.
I was trying to be really eager, maybe a little too eager.
It was one of those things too. Is like I'm very like I have a circle and I have to like slowly let people in, and it was one of those things too that I really appreciate you guys so much because you taught me like how to work with people, right? Like in a better sense of like realizing because I'm a dreamer, and I identify people who can help me with like executing those things, But at the same time, you are a very strong-willed person, and dreamers are always kind of like these strong-willed people as well. And we tend to butt heads. But that's one of those things too. I learned like patience, but also like, well, you have to see it from their perspective. And I think like that's helped me in the food industry, and especially currently where I'm at right now in the position that I'm in. Like my boss, like he's a good friend of mine. We're friends, but he was like, I don't need a person that is. He told me up front, like before I got the job, he's like, I don't need a person that's a chef who wants to like input their ideas. I just need somebody who can help me execute things. And that helped me when he told me that. He's like, okay, that's what Guy was for me. So I became you in my position, and I just helped execute these certain things, and also be the person who could relay information to the head chef and be like, okay, well, we're seeing this. We're selling more of this. Maybe we should double it. All that sort of stuff that goes into the food industry, and so it help you really helped me in like my skill set too. So I really appreciate it.
You know what Guy is? Guy is the true definition of trust the process. That's what Guy is.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
That's a great...
You know, Guy, if it weren't for you, I would never known how to make a proper floor map for like Comic-Con. Because of your measurements and things like that. I was like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm doing. Like, how am I supposed to make this floor map? Because of your help, I was able to successfully make floor maps for Comic-Con, among other things. But I feel like that was my most difficult challenge was trying to design something brand spanking new from scratch.
So I have to ask really quick, and I may have missed this, but what was the germ of the idea for Palm Springs Comic Con? Was that something you were thinking about for a long time, and then you approached Alex, or
that was me?
Oh, that was all. Oh, okay, so the germ started.
Well,
with
the
you.
germ for Palm Springs Comic Con, I was like, obviously my love for San Diego Comic Con and all going every year consecutively, but also that idea came from my old general manager at the Ace Hotel, because he knew that I went to Comic Con every year.
Ace Hotel.
He's also a huge comic book nerd, and he said, Alex, you know what you should do, because he knew I'm an events guy, and he was like, you should bring Comic Con to Palm Springs. And at first I was like, I don't think I'll ever do that. I don't think that'd happen. But then it slowly kind of like blossomed, and then you meet people like Justin, and then all the people who like kind of surrounded me, and then people who believed in the idea. And obviously Guy was one of those people who believed in the idea, and especially the way we were going about it. It felt more genuine, I feel. I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, Guy, but like the other one seemed like just kind of like a cash grab.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you guys this, and I'll start with you guys as someone we've all lived or have lived in the desert. Why do you think it took so long to bring a comic convention to Palm Springs? I mean, it's so close to LA. It's like it seems like an obvious hub for some sort of convention of any kind, pop culture wise.
So I think it absolutely had to do with the fact that there were no comic book shops in the desert for the longest time.
None.
Yeah.
None.
Wow.
And Sid, the owner of Desert Oasis Comics, was the first one that brought it back, and that I think helped build the possibility of like maybe this could happen.
Yeah, because for people listening who don't know, the Coachella Valley is small, but like it's not that small either. Like the Coachella Valley as a whole is 250,000 people, something like that.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Something like that, maybe probably more now.
Riverside County,
like,
isn't Riverside County the largest county in California?
Yeah, Riverside County's huge. Riverside County in and of itself. So I'm just wondering, like, how could such a place with such a close proximity to LA and San Diego have such, like, I don't know, maybe it's just that small town vibe. I don't know. Like, it's crazy to think.
Let me, since I'm older than pretty much everybody on this panel,
Right.
let me give you a little bit of history. All right. When you go back into the 60s, this was pretty much an entertainment town.
I said, Guy, I'm actually 109.
I feel 109. Go ahead.
So back in the 60s, this was Palm Springs. The Palm Springs there, the Coachella Valley was basically an entertainment town. All the rich and the famous would come here and they'd party for LA and do stuff, right? And there's lots of movies that are made here, and it was a great place to hang out. And lots of stars still live here to this day, and they come live here for a period of time and they move away. And then you got into the 70s. And into the late 60s, into the early 70s, this became a mafia town. Okay. So Trust me.
Really?
If you wanted Italian food, you didn't go to Vegas. You came to Palm Springs, best Italian food west of Chicago.
Wow.
You,
And-
you
I did
remember
not know
Pompeii, Guy? Remember Pompeii?
Yeah, Pompeii. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So the big thing about that is because Frank Sinatra lived here, the Rat Pack lived here.
Oh, right,
a lot of very well-known Italian people lived here that had connections to other places.
Yeah.
So they traveled from here to Vegas and stuff, but they'd like to be here in the wintertime because it was nice and warm. And so they had some of the great Italian food. And then you get from into the 70s, you get into the 80s, and then all those people started to slowly die out, right? And then this became more of an old folks kind of place. So what happened at that point in the retirement community, so you'd have the average age of people here were probably in their 60s and above. They came here to retire because it was cheap. So if you're a kid here, there was very little to do. I mean, it wasn't until like the mid-late 80s that we finally had like a couple arcades and even a miniature golf course for kids to do something, right? That was a big thing.
I would just play in the desert with my cousins and shit. We would literally go in the desert and we would literally take buckets of water with us, and we would make mud pancakes on the rocks when we were little kids because that's how bored we were.
Yeah,
like
so
there was TV, but there was nothing else.
Yeah, there's nothing happening out here for kids. So when I bought comic books growing up, right, I would go down to the local liquor store and they'd have a rack, and I'd go down there every week and I'd buy comic books off the rack and that kind of stuff, and then take them home and read them. There was no
7-Eleven.
Yeah, mine was Germain Brothers Liquor Store over on Vistachino and
Circle K for me.
Palm Canyon. Yeah.
Outpost Market on Ramon Road too had a nice.
Is that
they had a
place
nice
is still
rack.
there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
So the first time I ever got to see a real comic book store is my dad drove me to Los Angeles and we went to Collector's Bookstore in Hollywood.
That's crazy.
And the reason I found out about that because I had an art teacher in junior high school who was a very famous writer of children's books. His name was Fred Crump, and he's the one that got me back into comic books. And we had a bunch and then he challenged me on a few things and showed me where a Collector's Bookstore was, and I went to Collector's Bookstore, and it was like the greatest, this giant place that was just full of comic books, old ones, new ones, and stuff, that you could buy there. And we're talking mid 70s, right? Mid late 70s. Collector's Bookstore, when I was there, they had a big showcase, a big display case that you would go to, and they had props from different things. And one of the things that they had at the time, props from the Batman TV show. They had a bat radio, they had a batarang, they had all sorts of really cool stuff. And then they had the bat shield. Do you remember the bat shield? The big plastic thing that they unfolded that acted as a bulletproof shield that they would walk through, right? And they had it for like $50 on sale. And back in the 70s, $50 was a huge amount of money for an 11-year-old kid to say, I'd like to get this for my birthday and stuff. So, and then I saw that online a couple of years ago, and it went for like $200,000 for this bat shield. But that was
Wow.
So I discovered what a real comic book store was. I had to get my father, my mother to drive me down to LA at least like once every couple of months so I could go down there and buy some stuff, which they hated to go do. We had to find a reason to go to LA besides buying comic books. So there was no comic book store here for the longest time. And then in the 90s, we actually had two different comic book stores that showed up. One that was in downtown Palm Springs that lasted for a very short period of time. That was owned by the people that do Comic Book Asylum, or did Comic Book Asylum.
Well, no, actually, before that, there was in the 80s. It was around the era of the black and white Ninja Turtles. There was one called Desert Comics, and it was where in the shopping center where Zelda's used to be. Remember? Do you remember that?
I did not know there was one there. No.
Yeah, it was there. Yeah. And then just to mention, Fred Crump was my cartooning teacher in middle school.
Really?
Yeah, he was my cartooning teacher in middle school.
Crump, like Krump
with a C, right?
CRUMP.
Okay, I'm glad it's C and not T.
He was such a wonderful man. He was awesome. So kind
awesome.
and gentle.
Dang, I have Baron Trump in my
and he gave me the greatest,
right now.
the greatest piece of advice about drawing art, because I always thought I can't draw. To this day, I'm really terrible at art, right? But he said, people who try to do art, they try to draw a straight line. Okay. And he said, drawing is not about drawing a straight line. It's about not drawing a straight line. And that was like the most mind-blowing thing I ever heard, is that if you want to do something, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? It needs to be whatever you want it to be. And I've kept that. This is something I got in junior high school, and I've kept that with me all my life in terms of doing things the way it can be done as best as could be, but it does not be perfect, right? It just has to be enough that people can appreciate what needs to be done. And that's actually worked a lot, especially in the entertainment industry, when you're building sets and doing a whole bunch of other crap along the way. So
I,
mean,
I
you
think
could
that's
apply
how
that
we.
to any creative.
I think that's how I applied it to Palm Springs Comic Con and anything other events that I would do. So
A question in the public chat for Guy.
Okay,
sure.
let's
It
see.
said, Guy, did you ever party at Zelda's?
Where Zelda's used to be on the second floor of this building, which is still downtown Palm Springs, right off the corner of Indian Avenue and
Yeah.
McCollum.
I
It's
never
right
went to
across-
Zelda's, but it was on the second floor. I don't
It
know
was on the
that.
second floor. It was there for 30 years. And then
Yeah, that was
they-
like the go-to nightclub downtown.
It was the main place to go. And yes, I partied there many times. Thank you very much. And then they moved to two other places. They moved from there
Yeah.
to Smoke Tree Village.
Well,
And,
Guy, I have to ask you, what was the wildest thing you witnessed at Zelda's? I have to know now.
I partied with a lot of Mrs. America contestants.
Oh.
We had several Mrs. America contestants here, and some of these. So these are women who are over 20, or Ms. America contestants. They have to be over 27 years old, which is the cutoff age for the Miss USA and Miss America pageants, right? So they have to be over 27 years old, and they can be married, which they cannot be in the USA or the America pageant lines, right? So
Oh.
you got these married women, and they're away from their husbands, away from their children for about a week. And they want to go out and have a good time and party. So basically, you're out there with 15, 20 of these ladies out there in a club, and they were twerking before twerking was a thing. Let me tell you. And these are white ladies.
Well, yeah, those are the ones that,
Yeah.
Oh, man.
they'll do it the most before
Yeah.
anybody else usually. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm
Yeah.
just speculating here.
Yeah, no, they had those coke on the floor and all that kind of stuff before they cleaned it all up. But yeah. I mean, I've seen some wild stuff there.
Did you ever see that movie Studio 54 with Ryan Phillippe? I think it was. Did you ever see that movie?
Yes.
Was that kind of culture in the 70s prevalent in Palm Springs as well, or was it more?
If you think of more of a junior, of a junior version of that, because I've
junior-
actually been to Studio 54 before it went out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So what happened?
That's another story.
Outside of there is like a junior high version of high school Studio 54. Everybody wanted to be
Yeah.
there, but by that time, a lot of
Yeah.
laws kicked in where they had to clean the act up, and and they started monitoring things more because of a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that happened. Sadly, so.
Sadly, yeah. Wow. So you're kind of a bit of a Palm Springs historian as well. It seems like, because you've been there for so long and you've done so much and seen so much. Right?
No, I don't mean a historian. I just remember stuff that happened when I was there. So. I still am here. So.
Yeah. No, that's interesting though. Let's talk about the Saturn Awards. So you've been involved with the Saturn Awards for 4 years now. I just want to say, so it seems to be the only award show that recognizes science fiction, fantasy, and horror. I don't think there's any other award shows that recognize those three genres as much as Saturn Awards. How did you get involved with the Saturn Awards?
It's funny you should mention that, but if you think about that, look at the Academy Awards. This is the first time the Academy Awards recognized a real genre film. Sinners is a
Yeah.
vampire movie, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. And I think the last really good genre film that they recognized was probably Silence of the Lambs, because that's actually a
Yeah.
thriller horror film kind of
Nice
thing. Right?
shirt.
Yeah, nice shirt.
Yeah.
So I went to USC, and the Academy of Science Fiction and Fantasy and Horror was started in 1972 by a gentleman named Dr. Robert Reed, who, before he passed away in 2001, was also known as the foremost expert in the world on Count Dracula. I mean, this guy was
So we're gonna have to get Hunter Burns on to speculate on that. I think,
yeah,
because
I'd
he's
be
a
happy
big
to debate that
Dracula.
one right there. Yeah. So anyway, so Dr. Reed started this organization because he recognized that with his love of genre, it was not being recognized by the Emmys or by the Academy Awards. So he started this organization mostly because of his love of genre film. Started in 72. It grew like crazy. We had our first televised Saturn Awards, I think, in 76, 77. That's the one where the most infamous William Shatner performing Rocket Man you see on YouTube.
Oh, that's
comes
right.
from.
You were telling us that.
Yeah.
I love that.
People know about the infamous William Shatner saying Rocket Man, and
Yeah.
it was, their opinion, but no one really
Burning
knows.
up here alone.
But most people don't know that it was televised on the first televised Saturn Awards back
That's
in
amazing.
76 or 77 or whenever it was.
Yeah.
Right?
That's-
And William Shatner hated that for 30 years. In the last few years, he's actually started to now embrace that he's done that, which is
It's
actually kinda
amazing.
cool. Yeah.
It's,
So
I will sometimes rewatch that on YouTube just because I don't know, it scratches an itch in my brain that I can't explain.
well, when you get a chance, I'll send you a link. There's a link you can see now of an excerpt from the Saturn Awards where he received a Lifetime Achievement Award
Nice.
this past year or a few weeks ago. And he talks about how he was talking to doing Rocket Man and all the stuff that happened with that along the way. So when you watch that clip and you watch him talk about it, it's a really cool thing to see and do.
I love that so much.
So the Academy started in 72. One of the things that they do, they would hold screenings in several places, one of which is USC, where I went to school. So I was able to find out about the screenings. And they would have screenings every other Saturday on campus at one of the big theaters there. So you'd come in there and they show a movie in the morning. And then you have a lunch break and maybe 1 or 2 movies in the afternoon. Sometimes they bring in the filmmakers or the stars of the film to come out and hang out. It was a great time. I discovered the group. I joined it. And I've been a member ever since. That was really, really cool. We go to comic book conventions and we promote the organization and do stuff. And then they had the Saturn Awards. And then we didn't televise the Saturn Awards for a very long time. We held them in a bunch of different places, hotel ballrooms, big restaurants, the Directors Guild Academy Theater. In the 90s, when we had it at the Century Park Hotel in Century City in their ballroom, I lit that show for several years at that time. So I was a lighting director at that time and doing a bunch of other stuff. So that's how I've been a member for a long time. I was peripherally involved on and off for the last few years until about COVID. And then after COVID, I was really missing the Academy and the people I hung out with. So they asked me to come down and work with them. We did the show, the 50th anniversary, 50th Academy Award, 50th Saturn Awards was at the Marriott Burbank Hotel in Burbank.
That was my first one that I did.
I invited you the next year to come do that because I needed help then, right?
Yeah.
And I invited Arnie to come down. I invited Alex to come down many times, but he and Justin, they were too busy. They couldn't care less. They had no interest in coming and seeing that stuff. Years I invited them. Arnie came down. He had a great time. He even brought back great swag. He still didn't care about joining me. Anyway, so I went back because they needed some help because we were going back in the broadcast business with a company called Electric Now. Electric Now is owned by Dean Devlin, who is executive producer of a whole bunch of action disaster films like Independence Day, 2012. What's that one where we're frozen over by ice? And so all those big disaster films in the teens that he and his partner Roland Ermish did. So they decided they had a love for the Academy. They decided for the last 3 years that they were going to help broadcast it. I was brought in to help take care of the logistics of putting the show together in the hotel. So I was responsible for everything that was not directly ready to broadcast, which means basically I took care of the red carpet. I took care of getting props and all the designs and all the stuff up in, getting the ballroom ready for the show, getting the staging and everything ready for the show. Helping getting the contractors in there to get stuff done. And then when the show was on, I was responsible for making sure everything else was working outside the show and then setting up for the after party and some other stuff that we did. So it became a really big deal. I needed help. And I said, I got my friends over.
Arnold's your right-hand man.
Yeah.
Right, Arnold?
Yeah.
You're the Alexander Hamilton to Guy's George Washington.
I was even ready to provide performance, like entertainment if needed. If they needed dancing, like say every 30 minutes, Guy, this is something that I do.
This is part of the show, Guy.
He has my hips. I need to stretch.
This is the physical education
every
part of the show. Every 30 minutes he has to.
This is his demo for you for the next Saturn Awards.
But Guy, really quick, because when I was in high school, I wanted to go to film school and I wanted to go to USC, but I didn't have either the grades or the money to do it. But so I have to know, what did you study at USC and what did you like about it? What was your experience like there?
Okay,
at
so
USC?
USC was not my first choice. I had another choice to go, and I didn't get in for a whole bunch of reasons. But my high school friend and college roommate, who was going to USC, talked me into going there because one of the things I did is I joined ROTC. My goal in life was to be an astronaut. That was my goal from being little. I wanted to be an astronaut. I was going to join the Air Force so I could be part of the astronaut program, right? So I went to USC. They had the local ROTC program there. I got a scholarship. Because I got a scholarship, USC took me in at the next year in, which was great. So I was there for 3 years, three and a half years, somewhere in there. Took some summer school classes that were in there. My roommate, as I said, Gilbert Zimmerman. Hey, Gibby, if you're paying attention, he was a trombone player. He was a music major. He was a drum major at the USC marching band. He performed with Fleetwood Mac on Tusk. So
Love that
was
song.
really, really cool.
Hey.
And then he went off to become an art director for Disney. He worked on Tarzan, and then went over to DreamWorks and was intimately involved in the How to Train Your Dragon stuff, which is really, really cool. And I never let him live that stuff down because I'm really proud of him for that. So
that's awesome.
So USC as a school was actually really cool. I had football players living in my building because I lived off campus. I knew Marcus Allen because he was in my year. There was a guy named Anthony Munoz who became one of the top linebackers for the Cincinnati Bengals. He lived in my building. And what's really funny is Gibby was 6'2" and probably 260, 70 pounds. Really big guy, right? Huge guy, right? Anthony made him look small. So we'd be walking up the steps, and then Anthony would come down, and we'd have to back up just for him. But he was like the nicest, sweetest guy. He lived on our floor. We hung out and did some stuff together. So it was a really good time. The school was great, nice facilities. At that time, they were having some issues with football because they got in trouble with some football gambling issues and recruiting issues and stuff. But as an experience, it was great. I was an engineer, right? I did not go to the film school, but I had friends that did go to this film school. When I was there, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, they donated money to build the film and television School of Film and Television there, right as I was getting ready to leave, right? And they built this giant facility, which is gorgeous. But the thing is, talking to the people I work with, talking to the filmmakers I work with, does going to a film school get you closer to making film?
I can answer that right now. No.
My daughter went to NYU, and there was NYU Film School.
That's another prestigious school, especially for film.
And a lot of people they may have went to film school to learn the chops, but once you've got out of film school, you still have to fight to get a decent job anyplace. Intern someplace is a big thing. A lot of stuff I got to do again was I knew somebody who needed somebody else, like an Alex, and they said, "Oh, I've heard about this guy. Why don't you use him?" They said, "Okay." They put me on, and I started doing it. I did a lot of music videos in the 80s. I did Kiss videos, did Tina Marie videos, did a whole bunch of other stuff because somebody had heard about me, and they said, "He's a good guy." And then when you get in there and you work, they like you, they keep using you over and over, and that becomes the really big thing. So film school is great, to teach you things, but it's not designed really to get your foot into the door. When I was in the Air Force, I actually applied for the second assistant director program in the 90s. And because that was open to anybody of all walks of life, they were looking for people who were not film people to do that. And a second assistant director on a film or television is basically the guy responsible for logistics. He goes out and looks at the location and figures out how stuff works. Perfect for me, right? And they had a whole program for that. So
yeah, you've done and seen so much. And yeah, I really wanted to go to USC Film because when I was in high school, I was told that's like the film school to go to. That's where George Lucas went. That's where Coppola went. Well, no, Coppola went to UCLA, I believe.
Coppola went to UCLA. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was either that or the other. My film school doesn't even exist anymore. It literally shut down in 2011. So,
but you look at these people like Coppola, you look at Lucas and Spielberg. Do you know how they got their start? They got their start not because they went to USC Film School, is because they went to go work for Roger Corman. As an intern, and then they became production assistants. They became directors under Roger Corman, right? So they were making schlock movies that had budgets that were on a shoestring and took like 2 weeks to film, if that long.
That's the best way to learn.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Learn on that.
Yeah, same kind of thing here. All of us, the three people that I'm looking at the top of my screen here that are all part of Palm Springs Comic-Con, they had never put on a show before, right? And we had to put on this big logistical thing, which was really, really cool. And my big thing was I got to help them figure out how to make this thing work. And Palm Springs Comic-Con did so well. We were voted like best by our vendors. Vendors loved us over any other Comic-Con. We were voted best first year Comic-Con ever, which was really, really nice. Yeah, and that was the big thing for us. We put on a really good show. Everybody loved it. We had a really good time. Everybody learned how to do this. And the most important thing is Alex who was so stressed out at the beginning of the week when we started doing this thing. By the end of the show, when he realized that he could learn to let things go and trust his people and be able to delegate a bit more, he was much happier and much more relaxed by the end of the weekend. So
yeah,
I hope that helped him out a whole lot.
It absolutely did. But I also learned after doing Palm Springs Comic Con that I got burnt out on events in general. And that's the thing. Like, I know you give us crap for you jokingly give us crap for not helping you out at the Saturn Awards. I get triggered thinking about events these days. So it's like I as much as I would love to help you out, Guy, I'm more now. I want to be on the other side, like kind of like taking video. I just want to be like pressing the flesh, talking to the celebrities. Which we did. We got to, and thanks to you, Guy. I really appreciate a lot of it's these kinds of connections that I still keep up with. That even if there's like space and like a lot of distance and time that gets in between our communication, like somebody like you, we're the types of people that like no matter how much of that goes by, like we still get like our back to where we were, like joking around and like I think the last time we got to really hang out was the first year that San Diego Comic-Con came back from the pandemic. Yeah. And I like, funny enough, I just went to dinner at the same Korean barbecue place that we went to with Christina and Donald last night for Christina's birthday. And it was like, remember when we went here with the Guy? And it was such a trip down memory lane.
What year was that Palm Springs Comic-Con that you guys did? Was it 2014 or 15?
2016 and 2017.
Oh, you did it 2 years in a row?
Mm-hmm. And 2017 was the time that I ended up, like right before that one, I ended up in the hospital. That was the one that was really stressful for me. Wow. Because I ended up in the hospital for like 10 days before, a few months before that.
I'll say right now, if you guys ever want to do it again, I'll help you out. I'll do it pro bono.
I'll let Guy take the reins. And... I have faith that Guy would actually do an amazing job with it. Like, to be honest, like Guy, if you ever want to do it, you have my full blessing to be like, we'll just be the social media people. Well, like I'll be the guy connecting dots in the background, but you can be the guy that like, I just don't know how to like raise the money. Like that's the number one thing we need to. Yeah, like, Kickstarter's not going to do it again.
I might be able to help with that.
I gotta tell you, one of the things you learn about being with the Saturn Awards, you learn about sponsorships and getting those things. So I'll take that, try to apply that to Palm Springs Comic-Con when we bring it back. So I'll make sure we do that. I
was looking at the sponsors on the Saturn Awards website. I mean, it's all the big brands: Crunchyroll, CBS, Bad Robot, AMC, Amazon, MGM. I mean, FX. I mean, it's a who's who of major studios and companies that sponsored you guys. That's really awesome.
Yeah, we've had a lot of big sponsors to help us pay for the show because they all believed in that. Crunchyroll especially, because you don't get a lot of places that nominates anime type shows, movies, and they're very limited in terms of the Academy does and what the Emmys do. But we recognize a whole gamut of anime and animation, from all around the world and all sorts of stuff. Even no matter how weird it is, and the big thing about us is we recognize a lot of genre films.
What about podcasts?
Are never going to be nominated anyplace else, right? So what
about the medium of podcasting?
Well, yeah.
What I was going to say when we're talking about putting on another one, I feel like we would we can throw it out there right now. If anybody out here in the Palm Springs area, Coachella Valley area, would like to help out and brainstorm with us and maybe help out in some way, hit us up.
I will say that my biggest contribution will probably just be being able to connect us with Comic-Con International again. That's probably like we could get the name, trademark affiliate again, and go from there.
Let me ask you this really quick, Guy. What do you like better? Do you like award shows better, or do you like conventions better, or is it kind of all the same to you?
Well, I've been on both sides, and I got to tell you, the problem with award shows and the problem with working a convention is I'm working. I don't get to enjoy it as much as I would like to. That becomes really sad.
Yeah.
Whereas if I'm just going to a convention, hanging with friends, it's a whole different mindset. But I will tell you, there was a lot of years where because of all the production stuff I couldn't go sit down and watch a movie or go watch a play anyplace without having to spend more time looking at the production stuff and how it was done and what I didn't like, what I did like, and not pay attention to the play or the movie. And it took me a long, long time to get out of that mode just so I could go back and enjoy stuff again. That means a big thing, right? But having said that, there was a lot of satisfaction on putting on a good show or putting on a good con that other people can enjoy, because I go to some place because I want to have a good time. And if those people can have a good time because I was able to facilitate it, that makes it worthwhile, right? And they're going to talk about it, they want to come back again and have another great time. It's a different kind of satisfaction, right? But whether it's a show or whether it's a con, they both have different kinds of pros and cons in terms of how they work and stuff. But at the end of the day, you're putting on an event that people want to come to and have a good time. And if they go and they have a good time, that's what matters, right? For example, we talked about George Lucas. Tom Cruise came to our thing too. Tom Cruise, George Lucas, they do not go to award shows. They don't like award shows.
Right.
George Lucas mostly because nothing he makes ever gets nominated for anything, right? Except for a technical award.
He loves saying that.
He does. He does that. And if you watch what he comments, he says he's won 3 awards in his life. 2 of them are Saturns, right? And he won a Saturn for a few weeks ago. And that's why he comes to our show, because it's about fans that recognize the genre and show their love for the genre. When the voting is done by members of the Academy, and by the way, shouting out to you guys, if you want to join the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror, there's a link on for the show. Go join there. It's a couple $100 a year. If you live in LA, you can see like 300 free screenings of A-list movies.
Wow.
And some really cool stuff you've never heard of before.
Wow.
And you get invited to some other cool events to hang out. So it's really, really nice to be a member of the Academy, and you can vote for the best pictures and the best TV shows in the different categories. It's really worthwhile to do. Be part of that.
Mainly, is that best if you are living in the LA area? Because if I'm living in San Diego and I can't really utilize that benefit, is it kind of worth it?
Yeah, the sad part is most of the events right now are LA centric, but because of things that happened this year and because of the streaming we've been doing with Saturn Awards for the last few years, we're trying to figure out how we could do some more virtual events that we could, because we do have members that are outside of LA and other states and other parts of California, and some that are international. So we want to be able to start trying to figure out a way of putting some online events for them that will make it worthwhile. Maybe bringing back the Saturn Awards podcast and doing some other stuff like that. So we're working on some stuff. You guys have some ideas, I'd be happy to hear about any of those things.
Saturn Awards podcast hosted by the
Saturn
Never Seen It
Awards,
podcast.
Unofficial podcast.
That's podcast. I'll have my people talk to your people.
Okay, yeah, we'll have our interns get with your communications.
So the big thing about this is a lot of the people that come to our show do it because it's a great time. It's because it's voted on by the fans. I talked to Danny Elfman about this a long time ago way back when he was doing a Face Off.
Dang, name dropper.
He did Face Off?
Sorry. But
I don't know Danny Elfman did Face Off. That's crazy.
Yeah, he did the soundtrack for Face Off.
Wow.
But the reason why I dropped the names, it's important because when you drop the names, it shows people that a lot of big people care about this, right? We talked about Tom Cruise. We talked about George Lucas. We had James Cameron was there for Avatar. We had most of the cast for Alien. We were supposed to have Sigourney Weaver with the rest of them, but they wouldn't let her because she's shooting something right now. So they decided to let her go for the Academy Awards next week as opposed to our little tiny award show, right? But we had 5 generations of Star Trek cast members for 60 years of Star Trek showed up.
We talked to some of them.
You talked
right,
to them,
Alex?
Right? So I'm glad Alex, I'm glad you guys came to hang out on the red carpet and meet some of those people. I got to tell you, the stars told me afterwards one of the best red carpets they've been to because they could just hang out and be themselves and just have a good time. They didn't have to really pose a lot.
That was the vibe I felt. Huh? Right, Alex? When we were there, everybody seemed so casual, so just in a good mood.
And I feel like they were a little bit more open to let us like we didn't jump onto the actual red. You didn't jump onto the actual red carpet until I was like, hey, just go, and you did it. That's when you interviewed Doug Jones, and that was a really cool interview. And
really nice guy.
I think that rope actually kind of like creates this weird unnatural barrier that makes the interview feel weird. But then, once you jump over that rope and it makes it, like you said, Guy, it feels like a lot more welcoming and a lot more loose.
I'm going to be more aggressive next year.
Yeah.
I'm going to be way more aggressive.
I'm gonna put together that notebook like that girl had sitting next to me in the press room that had like every single thing. That's my goal for next year.
Yeah, because we talked to the actress who played Newt in Aliens, and we didn't record it.
Yeah, I think you got nervous.
I did. You
motherfucker!
I wasn't. And by the way, like I've done red carpets for TV news in the past, so you'd think that I would. I guess I was just rusty because I've literally done red carpet events in my early years as a news photographer. So,
hey,
but next time
I put you guys out at the end of the red carpet just because
I know.
chance to do stuff.
I know.
They'd be done with all the big name press and things, and it'd be more loose and do some stuff.
I was hoping you were going to say earlier. Somebody said that you talked to the celebrities, like those never seen it guys were great. By the way,
well, I think like the end of the red carpet was a blessing and a curse because you got like you said, Guy. It is kind of funneling, and they're all kind of like relaxed and loose with their conversation. Yet at the same time, a lot of their entourages were kind of like bottlenecking it, and so it kind of almost forced the celebrities to go like past us, like further out.
Yeah.
And then
who was the tall guy that we missed? The British actor. What's his name? I gotta look him up. Do you know who I'm talking about, Alex? Remember the really tall dude? What was his name?
I don't know. We were trying to get Paul Bettany, but like
Paul Bettany. That's who it was. That's who it was. Yeah. Was it? Okay. I didn't realize he was 7 foot tall. By the way.
Yeah, that guy is so tall. Guy. But yeah, he was one of the first ones to get funneled away from us.
Yeah, he was whisked away.
Yeah.
You probably saw me during a couple of the carpet. I was in there having to do crowd control because the security guys weren't doing their bit, and I had to start pushing people in to get off the red carpet because they were holding stuff up. You
gotta send in your muscle next time, Mr. Arnie, the one-man party. Which, by the way, Arnold, you wanted to say something.
Oh yeah. A couple things. I just wanted to share a little story, a little experience at the Saturn Awards. I was busy working. I was walking. I remember that day. I think I got like 26,000 steps or something like 35,000. But I remember there was some times where I would pop in and I'd be like backstage, and backstage, you on the other side, you see all like the production stuff going on, and then I remember opening the door, and then was it the Property Brothers guy, Drew? He was man, and he's really tall too. He was like
one of the twins.
Yeah. He was like right there, and then at that moment, Bob Odenkirk was on stage, and
nice.
Joel McHale, who was the host of the show, he was backstage, and they were just all like cracking jokes and having fun. It was just a fun vibe. I had a moment to just like stand there and watch. And Bob Odenkirk it was really funny. He was talking, and he was like, this was, I believe, his first time going to the Saturn Awards, and he said that when he got the call and was being invited, and they threw out there and were like, oh, Tom Cruise is gonna be there. So he was like, oh, okay, you've got my interest. And then they threw out there, oh, then and George Lucas is coming as well. He's like, oh, well, let me check my calendar. And then they're like, and Mark Hamill's going to be there. He's like, never mind, clear my calendar. I've got to make it here. And then they're like, and Joel McHale's going to be hosting. And then he was like, never mind. I don't think I'm going to go anymore. and then Joel McHale, he was backstage. He was laughing, and then he pretended like he was going to rush the stage, but then he jumped back down the stairs, and it was just a really funny moment that I got to catch. And then and then go help him put out another fire. So I left.
Yeah. Wow. That's been a lot, and we have more questions. Well, I have a question from the chat, Guy.
Okay.
What happened to your space career? HLP wants to know.
Okay, so I was in the Air Force for 6.5 years, and then I went to federal service afterwards for another 4 years, right? And the reason why I left the Air Force was I had just made captain, so about 3-4 years into the Air Force, the Challenger blew up. And they canceled the astronaut program for the next 7 years because they took them a long time to figure out why the shuttle blew up and what was it. And I actually participated in that failure analysis too.
That was in the 80s, right? The Challenger disaster?
Sorry, I'm sorry?
sorry, that was in the 80s, right?
That was in the 80s. The challenge, yeah, when the shuttle, the first time the shuttle blew up, right? And it had Christy McAuliffe, the teacher that was on there, and a bunch of other people. It was huge news. And then we went through a whole bunch of failure analysis with a bunch of teams all around the country trying to figure out what happened. And the two likeliest candidates was potentially invisible cracks in the solid fuel propellant and potentially a O-ring that might have been deformed because of cold weather and certain other kinds of things that happen along the way. We'll never know for sure because the number of pieces that happened, there were those are two likely things that could happen along the way. But the thing is, they canceled the astronaut program for 7 years, right? And by the time the astronaut program came back, I would have been too old to apply. So that was the big problem. So that's what killed my space career, sadly.
So that happened on January 28th, 1986, so 8 days after I was born. So that's kind of crazy to think about. It happened like literally 8 days
after you were born?
8 days after, or not 8 days.
Have you ever tried building a spaceship in your backyard?
Yeah.
And just going?
I feel so old now.
I was born January 10th, so the 28th would have been. I'm so bad at math. It's a little 18 days. Thank you, Arnold, with the assist as always. See, this is why Arnold's your right hand man. He always comes in with the assist. Thank you.
Just under 3 weeks.
No, that was a crazy, yeah. From what I've seen and read about that. Wasn't there another rocket that blew up in like the early 2000s?
There was another show that blew up some years later too.
Yeah,
which eventually led to the end of the shuttle program as we know it, and looking for new stuff. New stuff to go do.
Yeah. So you went, got your engineering degree. You've served in the Air Force. You almost went into space. Now you are a planner for all these nice, great events. I mean, is there anything you haven't done that you want to do, Guy? Is there something on your bucket list that you're like, I one of these days?
I still want to go into space. Unfortunately, I can't afford the ticket for that one yet. So
right. We got to get Jeff Bezos on the horn.
Or how about something more simpler? Is there a movie that you've never seen that you want to see?
Oh, you stole my question.
Oh.
I was going to ask him. No, that's fine, though. But yeah, what would shock people, Guy, of a movie you have never seen?
Honestly, The Goonies. I was just thinking about this the other day.
Wow.
What?
I was watching
we did an episode on that.
We did.
We already did an episode of
Available now.
Yeah. Josh Gates on Expedition Unknown did an episode where they were chasing the pirate treasure on the Goonies. I was thinking about, and I actually someone gave me a Goonies T-shirt, but I've never seen the movie ever.
Wow.
I'm trying to, and that's something I got to go do. So
that is a really good one because I would have assumed you've seen it.
Wait! Even when we did the Goonies screening event, you didn't go to that, did you?
No.
Oh shit! At the Camelot Theaters, we did like a Goonies screening for the anniversary.
We did 3 screenings. We did the
Goonies.
We did the Goonies. We did Ghostbusters and Gremlins.
Wow.
Gremlins, yeah.
And Gremlins we've also done on this show.
Oh yeah.
Which I had, yeah.
What other
hilarious.
movie would you say that people would be surprised that you've never seen besides the Goonies?
I don't know. You can top the Goonies for someone like Guy.
No, you'd be surprised. There was a period of time because I was traveling so much. When I was traveling all the time, because I was on a plane for like 50 weeks out of the year.
Yeah,
whatever time
I remember that.
If I could go to a movie theater, I would. I could if I could do it. But there were times where I just couldn't make it happen, or I was out of the country and the movies weren't there. But there's a fair amount of movies I'm really sad to say that I have not seen.
What modern movie that you haven't seen you would like to see?
I didn't see the new Judge Dredd. I didn't see the new RoboCop.
Well, don't worry about RoboCop. The new Judge Dredd movie, that one's great. That's a no-frills action movie. There's no stupid romantic subplots. There's no like dumb whatever. It's just straight up action, my friend. But the RoboCop remake, forget it. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it.
I wasn't that mad at the RoboCop remake, but as far as remakes go, Judge Dredd takes the cake.
Yeah.
Does it? Okay.
What I hated about the RoboCop remake was that this guy's supposed to be a half man, half robot, but I've never seen such a robotic performance from an actor, and I mean that in a bad way. Like the guy, I forget the Joe Hennerman, or I don't know what his name was. But he's just he gave me he did nothing for me. Peter Weller will always be the
Peter Weller will always be that
the supreme RoboCop.
Plus that's the first movie I stuck an entire Chinese dinner into. So
Joe Kinnaman.
Also, the original RoboCop tag team with the Stinger, so the Sting in WCW wrestling.
I remember.
Yep.
Right.
He broke out.
I just
He
saw
broke
a-
Sting out of a cage, and then they
Sting the singer? The singer?
Oh,
no, the wrestler, the
Oh,
wrestler.
I thought it was Sting the singer. I'm like, what did he do? Wrestling.
No,
I know
yeah.
nothing about wrestling, and I won't say anything bad about it because I know if I do, what happens. So, no. But Guy, another question for you. First of all, are you on Letterboxd at all?
I have been on Letterboxd, yes.
What's your top 4 on Letterboxd? No, I have to know.
Go back and look at. All right.
What are your
Let's
top
do-
4? What are your top 4?
Yeah, let's say right now. Let's decide your top 4. Let's figure it out for Guy.
I will mention my top forums, and I'll guarantee that nobody else on this panel has ever seen any of them. So
Tell us.
okay,
I want to take a bet. I bet maybe
I'll take
Justin
that
has seen one
challenge.
of them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Justin likes obscure
My
movies.
my number one film is considered the first music video ever made, and that's A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles, which is a great rock and roll film, and it greatly captures a day in the life what it would like to be with the Beatles in this thing. It's a great
I
movie.
was about to buy that Criterion edition of that yesterday.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah, they
You
have
should
a
get
have
it.
seen
Criterion
it.
edition is really, really
Yeah.
good because they
Yeah,
did
but
some- they did-
they were selling it for like really expensive.
It's expensive, Criteria. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not cheap at all.
I grew up with a lot of Beatles influence in my life. Like my uncles were heavily into Beatles. My younger brother learned instruments by playing Beatles music. So I definitely have a very heavy Beatles influence in my life.
Justin, I will say, when it comes to your hate for Joel McHale, you should let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Guy, what's your number 2? Number 2 that you'll add to your top
okay,
4 list.
number 2, you guys, somebody should have seen it, but the greatest musical of all time is Singing in the Rain.
I have not seen Singing in the Rain, but I've heard it's good.
Really?
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. My
Gene
respect for
Kelly.
Justin-
Isn't there
It's
a
such a
Gene
good
Kelly
movie.
Drive in the
Never-
desert?
never
There is,
seen it.
right? Never. Yeah, I've never seen it.
I saw that one in college for my film class.
And Debbie Reynolds. That's Princess Leia's mom, right? That was Carrie
yeah,
Fisher.
Princess Leia's mom, who, by the way, has won several Saturn Awards, which is a big thing.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I don't-
And-
Well, she
and-
was also a well-known ghost screenwriter, wasn't she?
Yes, she was a ghost screenwriter. She wrote several novels.
She was
worked with
amazing.
Debbie Reynolds, and Debbie Reynolds used to say, "Hi, my name is Debbie Reynolds," or as most of you know me as Princess Leia's mother. That was the big thing she used to say for a lot of years.
I love that. I love the
Very,
Queen
very
Mother.
funny lady, and that was actually Debbie Reynolds' first film.
Singing in the Rain.
Yeah.
Nice. What's your number 3 for Letterboxd?
Number 3 for Letterbox would have to be
Not a bad choice. I think we've all seen Alien here, right?
Alien, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think Arnold's seen it.
Arnold, you haven't seen Alien? Oh my gosh.
No.
We're doing that next.
Oh yeah, we gotta do Alien.
Guys on the show, we're doing that.
Is that your choice, Justin, or is it going to be Guy's choice?
I mean, it could totally be either choice.
How
I'll
about
go
Justin
with
does
it.
I'll let
Alien,
Justin
Guy
have
does
it.
Aliens, and then I'll do Alien Cubed. No, I'm kidding.
And we did the 40th anniversary of Alien, or 50th anniversary of Alien at the Saturn Awards. We gave, like I said, everybody was there for that, and that was a huge big thing. So
That was
Nice,
very
nice.
cool.
James
That was
Cameron
very
was
cool.
there. Yeah.
Number 4. What's your number 4 pick for your top 4 for Letterboxd?
Rat Finka Boo Boo.
What is? How many words is that?
It's actually 2 words.
God bless you.
What a boo boo.
Bless you.
Rat Finka Boo Boo.
What did you call me?
It's a horrible sea level film that was made in the
1966.
66.
The
yeah,
Adventures of Rat Fink
Fink-
and Boo Boo.
No, Rat Finka Boo Boo. It's about
Okay,
this
'cause it-
guitar playing superhero that looked like Batman but wasn't.
It's coming up as The Adventures of Rat Fink and Boo Boo.
Yeah, that was one of the titles that it had. It's a horrible film, but it is so bad it is just funny to watch. It really is.
I almost want to just do that one next.
When we do that's those are words that are a phrase or that I've it's brand new to me. It's
Yeah.
new.
I've heard the words rat. I've heard boo boo. I've never heard fink.
Finka.
And then you put them all together, and it's a interesting amalgamation.
I-
So wow,
I
that's
instantly
great.
thought
Oh,
about
interesting.
Rat Fink, that cartoon character at first.
The cartoon character, yeah, but that came after the movie. So
Yeah.
I could teach you about Jesse James versus Frankenstein's daughter. I could teach you, like all sorts of really cool stuff. There's some really horrible films that are out there that you guys have not, and there's some good films out there you guys have probably never seen.
Have you ever seen To Live and Die in L.A.?
Yes.
Okay, because we might have a special guest coming up that we'll be discussing that movie with them.
Oh, that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah.
Ooh.
To
Have you
Live
guys
and
ever
Die in LA.
seen Max Headroom?
I only
No.
know of the infamous incident where he hijacked the TV broadcast signal in the 80s, and
I know the TV show.
and they never caught the guy that did it, and he was wearing a Max Headroom mask.
Right.
Guy, you know about that. You have to know,
I know about that. I was around when that happened.
Was it? I know Eminem has Max Headroom in one of his music videos too.
Yeah.
I've learned a little bit about it. I'm not entirely sure about
thought he
the
was a
whole history,
mascot.
but
Well, he was on.
he was a mascot for like a late night show or something.
No,
like
no,
that,
it was
talk show.
Coca-Cola. He was on Coca-Cola commercials.
No. So Max Headroom.
Max Headroom?
Max Headroom started out as a late night talk show host.
Okay.
Okay, he was this computer generated talk show host played by Matt Frewer, right? And then they did the English version of the TV show, which is really cool, which starred him and Amanda Pays. And then they brought it to the United States in the early 80s, and they shot a US version of that again with Matt Frewer and Amanda Pays.
Yeah.
And I am actually in the very first pilot episode, more or less.
Yeah.
So
my
nice.
my first influence is, or my first exposure to Max Headroom was the Coca-Cola commercials, and then he had the U.S. TV show that you're referring to. That's how I didn't know that he was like something else, like a late night talk show host. I did not know
In
that.
fact, his talk show host they had on Cartoon Network. They ran
Hold
it for
on,
a while.
what?
Yeah.
Were they like reruns?
I don't know if they were first one or reruns. I remember seeing them on Cartoon
No.
Network. Cartoon Network or Sci-Fi Channel, one of those. I remember seeing them because that's where I was watching. And it'd be the thing where it'd be a TV screen with them, then a guest sitting in a desk. You know how the Brack TV show looks? How Brack did it?
Yeah,
On
Space Ghost. Yeah, Space Ghost.
Yeah, that was patterned after how Max Headroom did his shows.
Okay.
That's interesting.
exactly
Guy, I'd love to get your opinion on something, and this is what I would have asked Tom Cruise had I met him. In the era of making legacy sequels, so like there was a Gladiator 2, there's going to be a Heat 2 coming out. Do you think we'll ever see a sequel to A Few Good Men? What do you think?
No. And I think
rats.
and I think
And they're all alive too. The
they're
entire
all
cast
alive.
from that movie is all still alive.
The
So
guy's still alive, but Aaron Sorkin said he has nothing more to say about that. Aaron Sorkin wrote, the guy that wrote The West Wing wrote, A Few
I
Good Men.
know, and I love Aaron, and that's why I would love. That's one of my top favorite movies, A Few Good Men.
All right,
Just
Finka.
imagine like a retired Tom Cruise lawyer. He has to take up one last case with some, and you could have like a big actor play like the main bad guy. So instead of Jack Nicholson, it could be it could be
Jesse Plemons.
Jesse. Jesse Plemons is the assistant lawyer at the Navy. No, it could be like somebody really old but famous, Anthony Hopkins or something. I don't know. I'm just
They would make a sequel to Jerry Maguire before anything else.
I could see that. I could see that.
They made a sequel to Top Gun 40 years later, so anything is possible, right?
That's on Top Gun, and by the way, I've never seen any of the Top Gun movies, and I have never seen Jerry Maguire. I only know the memes. I know. But that's the beauty of this show is that there's these big pop culture hits that we could do.
But it's a movie about friendship and brotherly love.
Yeah, and playing volleyball. Am I
And
right?
playing volleyball with their shirts off.
Christopher Walken could be like the Jack Nicholson in the A Few Good Men sequel. Do you know Aaron Sorkin? Maybe we could get him on the horn and convince him to write a script.
Apparently I don't.
It'll be
but
called
they-
A Few Old Men.
Damn. That's a good one. That's
A
a good
few
one.
grumpy old men.
Oh, but rip to Rob Reiner. Obviously, he wouldn't be able to direct, but maybe I don't know. There's got to be a director who would be willing to take up the
Maybe
mantle.
his son.
No.
Ooh.
Let's not go there. But yeah, Guy, I feel like we could talk to you for 6 hours about everything, and we would never get bored on this show. But guys, do you have anything else we want to ask Guy before we start to wrap her up, or how we feeling?
I have a question. What's your favorite memory from Palm Springs Comic Con? And what's your favorite memory from this year's Saturn Awards? I know that's too much. Maybe.
No, those are good. Those are good.
My favorite memory of Palm Springs Comic Con, we all got together into that big group picture on the stage at the end of the first day. That was really cool. I liked that all. So they were having a good time. I mean, we worked really hard. We were really tired. But at the end of that first day, everybody had a great time. Everybody was happy. And
Yeah, we were
that
all
was
smiles in that picture. It was,
yeah, we were
it was
that's
wonderful.
one of my favorite things to remember. Then we had those big giant Transformer guys that came walking in, later on for that too, which is actually kind of nice. From this year's Comic Con, what is my?
I felt so
yes.
bad that they had to crouch.
Yeah, I mean, this year's Saturn Awards. I mean, Saturn Awards.
What is my best thing from this year's Saturn Awards? Again, so I'm working so much, I don't get to see what's happening. Oh, I got to meet Katie Sackhoff. And one of the things about Katie
you guys are so
Sackhoff,
lucky.
which I did not know, because I've seen her at the awards several times before, just never got to talk to her. I did not know what a girly girl she is. You watch her and all the things, she's always badass. She's always silent. She doesn't talk. She has got the most gorgeous smile I have ever seen. Right? And when
Yeah.
she talks, she is just so happy and cheerful, and that's the way she is. I really liked meeting her. That was like my big high point, you know.
That was my favorite moment too. When I
Over
met her.
Tom Cruise, over George Lucas, meeting Katie Sackhoff was like one of the coolest things. So.
So
And it's appropriate you say that, Guy, because HLP wants to know, what was your oldest Hollywood crush that you got to meet?
Ooh, oldest Hollywood crush that I got to meet. That's a really interesting question. Raquel Welch died, sadly. I got to meet Lindsay Wagner.
Now, that name sounds familiar, but I don't know who that is.
Oh my God, you young people. By the way, this is also the 50th anniversary of The Bionic Woman, who starred Lindsay Wagner. So
Lindsay Wagner.
I used to
I'm
watch
a
that show.
40-year-old young whippersnapper.
I used to watch that show.
it was a really good show. I mean, the effects for the time were as good as they could be. They may be a bit cheesy now, but the stories were kind of cool. You know, watching Lindsay Wagner like that was really cool. And the same from the same era, I also got to meet Linda Carter. Major
Oh
crush
my
on Linda
God,
Carter.
I know that is.
And
That was,
she looks
that was a
nice.
huge crush of mine when I was a kid too.
She's
She's
in
still
her
a crush of
50s,
mine.
and she still looks as good now as she did way back then. Check out her Instagram. Her Instagram is really good because she pushes a lot of stuff that she does now. She pushes a lot of stuff that she does, a lot of old Wonder Woman type stuff, and she does have a cabaret act that I worked with her on. That she sang.
Were you ever
which
a
is really-
fan of Elvira?
Oh,
That's
I
one
met
of my
Elvira,
that's
too.
one of my biggest crushes too.
I met Elvira, and very interesting lady. She really, really is, because she keeps her Elvira separate from her real persona, which she also does kind of stuff. But yeah, and she is stacked. Real
My
nice
mom-
lady.
Stacked with talent, you mean, right?
Stacked with
Stacked
talent,
with
yeah.
talent.
But she's
My mom's in her 60s, and she always told me growing up about the $1 Million Man, the Bionic Woman, Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, Who Shot JD. Like, my mom grew up watching all that
JR,
stuff.
not JD. Oh my God.
Oh, JR. Did I say JR?
Oh my God.
But yeah, that was before my time even. So yeah, I never. But you didn't, because back then you only had what, 3-4 channels, and
Yep,
that's
there
it,
was-
right?
There was even cable then. There was only 3 channels. And when
Yeah.
you lived in Palm Springs, you basically had to be in a cable because since they couldn't broadcast the signal all the way out here to Palm Springs, you basically had a cable that gave you those 3 channels plus 3 independent channels. Channel 5, Channel 9.
Yeah.
4 channels. Channel 5, Channel 9, Channel 11, Channel 13, Channel 8. KTLA, KTTV,
K9. Yeah.
KCOP,
Yeah.
and I forget the other channel was. So yeah.
And I worked for 2 of those stations at least that aired locally. And that was my final question. Who's like a local, like, desert area celebrity that, like, either you know them or you've met?
Oh, I met lots of growing up. I met lots of celebrities.
You know
know,
Gino Lamont? You probably know Gino.
I've met Gino Lamont.
Yeah. I used to work with him.
I met several of the other people that were out here. I've met Manny the movie guy once.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we know that.
That's an
I
old-
used to work with him.
That's an old
Yeah.
homie of Adrian.
Yeah. I used to work with him at KMI, at Channel 6 KMI. Well, now it's just KMIR, NBC.
Kuya Manny.
But yeah.
Kuya Manny.
Yeah, they call him the Filipino Roger Ebert. So
Yeah.
we need to get him on the show one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do. I
And,
agree.
Carson Daly is from Palm Springs. Did you know
Yeah,
that?
so wasn't Jimmy Kimmel also? Didn't he get his start in Palm Springs radio?
He got a start in Palm Springs. No, he didn't get a start in Palm Springs. He actually came from Washington State and then went to Vegas.
Oh, I
So
thought he
he
had a
didn't-
show in the desert. Well, maybe
No,
not.
he didn't have a show in the desert.
He likes to visit
Okay.
the desert.
He likes to visit the desert. Yeah.
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 Justin and I,
And-
we worked when we were working at together at the Heyday. He came and did like this huge catering, like order for all their food. It was like
Yeah.
a huge deal for us.
Wow.
Ah, that's cool.
All right. Well, guys, I mean, I think we did it. Like I said, we could keep talking to Guy for 10 more hours and not get bored. But
Yeah.
Guy, do you have anything you want to talk
I'm
about?
already talking about myself. So let's talk about you guys. How you guys been?
Oh,
We'll
we're
talk
doing
about that
good.
off air. We'll talk that
Yeah,
off
well,
air.
Yeah, we
no, but I really do feel like, because we were hanging out at Universal City Walk when we were there for the Saturn Awards, And we were just kind of walking around, right, Arnold? We were walking around, just kind of chatting about this, that, and the other. And we went into
Waiting for Alex to show up.
waiting for Alex to show up. And
Hey, I had to get my Tommy burger. Come on.
We hit a few
and
comic
Guy,
shops.
you gave me a lot of great recommendations for
yeah.
comics to read and graphic novels, which I saved all of them. So thank you again for that. It was a really fun time. I kind of feel like you're like a friend that I've never met. But I feel like I've known you for a long. I don't know. Is that weird to say? Like I feel like I know you. Like I don't know. Is that weird?
Connecting.
Maybe I'm
No,
just
not
weird.
at all. I'm glad that worked out. I feel comfortable with you guys too. So I've known the other three guys for many years, right?
Yeah.
And we've done a lot of stuff together. So it's nice to know that they got some new people to hang out with that I can learn some new stuff from. That's really nice. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Well,
having me
this
here.
is like sharing parts of our old, other older parts, and bringing them together. Like we've known Adrian. At least I've known Adrian since 2011, 2010. And that's again like I'm the dot connector, and bringing Guy and Adrian together.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not even that close anymore to the guys that I met Alex through. Like, does that make sense? Like Sam and Tim, I met you through them, but I don't even talk to either of them anymore.
And I met all of you guys because of Sam and Adrian here.
Yeah.
Alex
We used
was
to record at your
a
apartment.
stranger that came to my house.
Oh, we would get
He
drunk.
just came to my house for an
Yeah.
episode of the podcast. He was a guest, and then we became friends since.
And look at us. And look at us now.
All this happened. Look at I have grays now. Look.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys. Anybody here going to WonderCon this weekend in San Diego?
You mean Anaheim?
Yeah, in Anaheim. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's this weekend.
I was thinking about going this Sunday. I don't. I just. Yeah, it's too much of a drive.
I don't know. Are you? Are you gonna go?
Plus,
there?
I'm trying to
honest
save
with
money
you,
for Japan.
Yeah, because that's the same thing with me. Is I was going to get tickets to WonderCon, but now that I have tickets to San Diego Comic-Con for this year, I haven't been in a long time. I'm going to go for a few days for that, and then I have that trip to Japan with Alex and Donnie.
You guys are busy this year. Busy.
Busy. Like I think that's just kind of
Because you're still doing Comic-Con in July.
yeah. That's what I was gonna ask you, Guy. Are you able to like now that your status with Saturn Awards? Are you able to like? I'm just curious because like you're like where we were at in Palm Springs Comic Con. I feel like you're higher up in industry. That you could probably like have better access than us. Like even when we were doing Palm Springs Comic Con.
I gotta tell you, I was thinking about this just as I was getting tickets for WonderCon. And the reason I bring WonderCon is I'm actually going to support. Any of you guys like horror films? There's a new movie coming out called Scared to Death. If you guys have not heard about it, come see it. It's a really great new horror film. I'm working with the press team on that one. I think you have a good time watching some of that stuff.
Is it premiering at WonderCon?
Yeah, there's a panel. There's a panel on Saturday for it.
They're not doing a red carpet or there or anything like that.
No. This is a panel for that. But we actually had a movie release party a couple of weeks ago in LA, on Altadena at one of the real haunted houses in LA, which is actually kind of cool. So
Nice.
for the film. Anyway, so come see Scared to Death. If you're going to WonderCon, I'll meet you at the Scared to Death panel. I'd be happy to see you guys over there.
Yeah, for everyone listening, go meet up with Guy. And
On the panel, I am supporting the panel with the PR team. So, but back to what you were saying before. One of the things I realized is the mistake that we made is they gave us basically the freebie production passes, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we should have done was we should have asked for the paid for production ones because we could have got those. Yeah, they cost $100, whatever it was, still cheaper than a regular con pass, right? But you got a whole bunch of perks to go with the paid one that you didn't get with the freebie one that we got, and that's the biggest thing. Now that I'm part of the academy, I can get a paid production ticket for that, and not have to get turned down or kicked out or never make it into the little waiting room for the last 4 years from getting Comic-Con.
Yeah.
all right, guys. I mean, yeah, I think we did it. Arnold, Justin, and Alex, do you guys have any final thoughts? Do you want to just share our quick socials and then we'll wrap her up? How are we feeling?
Yeah, that's
All right. Well, Arnold, actually, no, let's start with Alex really quick. Yeah, and then we'll go around the room. So, yeah, Alex, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me at Daily Dares on all the socials. And I will be at San Diego Comic-Con with 4 out of 5 of the main guys. Hopefully all 5, and then
we'll see.
We'll see. And then
maybe,
and then maybe we'll go hang out with a Guy if he's not like running around like at every single panel. He's just like Mr. Panel Room.
You know what? I can't understand the value of waiting for a day and a half outside of Hall H. Trying to get into Hall H and not getting in there, or getting in there and having to sit through a bunch of stuff you don't want to sit through. There's all this other stuff going on because they're going to have the trailer on there anyway.
I agree.
Watch the event on there.
Yeah.
And there's so many really good panels for small things that people are missing out on.
Oh yeah, really, absolutely. Yeah.
You know what? Let's do Comic-Con in Denver. Denver Comic-Con, guys. Come on. Bring it over.
I mean, last year Donald and we tried to go to Hall H. We were like, let's just try it, and I kind of knew that it was kind of an impossible mission, but we tried it anyways, and then we just ended up going to one of the smaller panels, and we just probably had a better time than going to those. I mean, but I'm with you, Guy. I love the smaller panels. I don't like going to Hall H whatsoever.
You got to be a Hall H hipster. Like, you go to the panels and nobody's ever heard of. You go to Hall Z or something.
You can't say that. You have to at least do Hall H one time before you can make that decision.
That's a rite of passage.
I did it one time, and boy howdy.
Which one did you get to? Which one did you get to? I forgot.
I went to the Terminator Dark Fate. So like Arnold Schwarzenegger was there. So was what's her name? Linda Hamilton was there. Yeah, all the actors.
I bet
for
the panel was better
Dark
than
Fate.
the movie itself, though, because that movie was. Whew.
You know, I kind of liked the movie. It was respectable, but the panel was definitely better than the movie. Yeah.
Well, Justin, so tell us your quick. Where can people find you? Any final thoughts?
Let's see. Yeah, you can follow me, Ghost Nerd 88, for my art stuff and things. Or you can follow my personal. It's Shibs the Zombie, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
That's all.
Thank you, sir. Arnold, there's no snoozing meter tonight, but yeah, give us your socials and any final thoughts you may have.
You could rate this episode.
No, don't do that.
Did you fall asleep during this episode, Arnold?
You know, I had a really horrible night of sleep last night.
You owe us 2 hip shakes, by the way.
Oh, okay. At the 1 hour 30 mark, which we're gonna hit in a minute. So I'll keep going on for that minute to end my my little spiel with a little for a health. We sit for so long to stretch our hips out. To
add a little sexy flavor to it.
Yes, yeah. That's sexy flavor.
That's a boner. I mean, a bonus.
I'm Arnie Collego everywhere. You can find me on all the socials. See what I'm up to with whether it's my normal everyday job, or a lot of the podcast stuff, or a lot of my side hustle stuff, cooking for clients, my private chefing stuff on the side, make you a little hungry.
And a little screenplay project we've been working on for a few years now, Arnold. Right?
I know, right, man? It's been a while, and we're trying to get that going. Trying to sell that.
If you like suits, you'll love this.
I've got some interesting information for you guys regarding that, so I'll tell you after the show.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right. We'll talk.
At first, you had my curiosity, sir. Now you have my attention. Go ahead, Arnold. Sorry. That's where you can find me, Arnie Collego everywhere, and that's it. I'll end it with a little visual. Yeah, you do that, and then Guy, anything you want to plug, anything you want to promote, and where can people find you?
As I said, I'm scared to death at WonderCon panel on Saturday if you guys are there. If you care about me and how much I am in cybersecurity, you can look me up on LinkedIn or even on Google under Guy Rosefelt and see all the things I've done and talk about cybersecurity over the last few years. I'm trying to I've been told I need to put together a Substack and start publishing more crap. So I'll be writing some articles the next couple of weeks and publishing some of those things from a cybersecurity standpoint. If you care about all the weird things I follow, you can follow me as Otto38, OTTO38DD on Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky, and I might be posting some more
What about
stuff
your
on
letterbox?
Otherwise, I do post to the Palm Springs Comic Con Facebook page a lot of times, so you'll see some of the stuff on there. So
Yeah, you said you are on Letterboxd, so you might as well tell us what's your Letterboxd so we can follow you.
The same thing. It's OTTO38DD. But that's been my nickname handle since like 6th grade or 7th grade somewhere there.
Oh, wow. Well, we appreciate you so much, Guy, for everything you've done for us, for being on the show tonight, for talking to us about all these great stories. I'm sure there's even more stories that we have yet to uncover. And just know that open invitation to be on the show whenever you'd like. And we definitely got to decide what movie to discuss with you next. So, so
I'd be happy to come back. I had a great time. So
absolutely.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. Finally.
Yeah, long overdue. Finally, we're glad we were able to make it happen.
No, really. I really appreciate you guys having me here. It was a really good time. I am a fan of the podcast. I listen to them on.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
I'm surprised how many of you guys actually have done. So I can go back and listen to some of those. I will go find that Goonies episode now, so I can see what you guys think about that.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Guy. And you can follow the show everywhere. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on Threads, we're on Blue Sky, we're on Facebook, we're on X. Visit our website, neverseenitpodcast.com. Email us at podcast.neverseenit@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. Subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Apple is now going to be adding video to the Apple Podcast page, so you'll be able to see our beautiful faces on there. Of course, if you like the show, it really helps us out if you share it, leave us a review. A big thanks to Mr. Kyle Maps and the Burn Cycle for our intro and outro music. You can follow Kyle at selfies_food_and_pets. Thank you for listening. And Justin, I don't know if you have any final thoughts, but I do have a final thought, which is
I do, actually.
Whatever you do in life, don't look at Chapel Road. That's all I got to say. Justin, go ahead.
Support your friends, and your friends will support you.
Yes. All right.